Hi, my name's Hannah Levy, and I interned at McGladrey in Bluebell, Pennsylvania this summer as a lead tax intern. So McGladrey offers assurance, tax, and consulting services, and they focus on the middle market. So companies like the Big Four, such as PricewaterhouseCoopers and KPMG, focus on the huge companies like Comcast and that are really big, and those are really big customers for them. McGladrey really likes to focus on the middle market, so more average companies, still big companies, and that's really where they get most of their business from, and they're very successful doing so. They're actually the leader in the middle market. So McGladrey started in 1926. It was started by Ira B. McGladrey in Cedar Rapids, Ohio. In 1970s, they merged with Broker Hendrickson and Company, and then in the 1980s, they became McGladrey and Poland after merging with Poland. In the 1990s, they sold non-attest assets and business to H&R Block, but McGladrey and Poland remain independent, and that's a huge part of where they are today. But now in 2015, as they announced this summer while I was interning with them, McGladrey will change their name to RSM in order to unify the company internationally, because internationally they are more known as RSM. So customers who work internationally were confused as to why some people had multiple business cards, one saying McGladrey, one saying RSM, even though they're the same company. So now we're going to unify and be one company. Overview. So how I found the job. I was actually looking on campus to get some interviews and hadn't gotten any of those. I was kind of lost to what to do. I was looking around and my dad knew someone whose daughter actually was an audit associate at McGladrey. So he put me in contact with her, and I started talking to her, and then she put me in contact with Gabrielle Nader, who is the Northeast recruiting person so she recruits for Philadelphia and Bluebell, which is near my home. So I talked to Gabby. She got me an interview. I went in for that interview, and later that day I accepted the job. I was very excited to have that job offer and excited about the future. So my orientation, on our first day, it was a Friday in the office. We all went in. There was about 22 interns. We spent all day in the conference room. We received our computers, went over security, met each other, a bunch of different presentations from McGladrey employees. Then we had the weekend off, and that Monday we went up to New York, where all the Northeast interns, all the way from Connecticut down to Baltimore, were the same orientation. So we went through all like HR stuff and a ton of that stuff and learned everything in bonding. Then after that, we went back to the office and began our in-office internship. So it was an in-office internship. It was tax-focused, so I was working on tax returns all day, which gave me a chance to communicate and work with my colleagues and supervisors daily because I was in the office with them every day. Learning objectives. So my learning objectives were to become proficient in tax software, develop customer relations skills, learn how to work in a professional environment, and become proficient in Excel. So I definitely became proficient in tax software. I originally learned the McGladrey system, so it's ProFX Tax and Tax Books via Excel. But McGladrey also recently acquired another company called Fesnac, and they moved in just about the same time as interns actually came in. So I actually got assigned to work under them. So after I learned the McGladrey systems, I had to go back and then learn the Fesnac systems. So I got a chance, which was also included engagement, which most of the McGladrey people didn't know. So that gave me a chance to learn a lot more of the tax systems than most of the other interns, so that was a positive. Develop customer relations skills. I didn't really get a chance to do that as I was working in the office every day, but that is something in the future as a tax associate or tax employee that I would get the chance to do. Learn how to work in a professional environment. So I had these preconceived notions that working in a professional environment was extremely strict, no one could talk, and I don't know, just very nervous about that. But it wasn't like that at all. Everyone was extremely welcoming and nice, and they wanted to talk to you and help you. So I definitely got a chance to get rid of those stereotypes that I had in my head. Become proficient in Excel. So I was already pretty proficient, especially since I took that MIS class where we learned the basics of Excel, but now I learned how to use those things I learned in class in a tax accounting way, so how they really kind of apply to the real world life. Okay, so the projects I worked on, I did a lot of 1040s, so those are individual returns. So I would prepare the work papers, so all the way from getting their information mailed in from the client, I would scan it into the computer, organize it, put it in their document on file, site, or engagement, whichever one I was working on for McGladrey or Fesnac. And then I would have that checked over by a senior associate. Once that was checked over, I could then take all that information and either manually enter it into ProSystems or just have it transfer over, depending on how big the return was. If it was smaller, just manually enter it because that was easier. I would then have that checked by a senior associate, make any changes I needed to make, which I usually had a few since I was very new to all of this and they understood that. Once it was checked over and everything was finalized, I would actually e-file the report and then prepare it for filing. So that was very cool to see everything from beginning to end. I also worked on 1120, and 1120 is in 1065, so those are S Corp and partnership returns. Same idea with the work papers, the same process. So I would do all those from beginning to end as well. One of the most interesting jobs I had was a forensic accounting job. So there was this international company, I believe they were Slovakian. They're U.S. citizens now, but they're older now, so they don't work, and their only income is Social Security benefits. And they're below the rate, so they didn't have to pay taxes on them because they weren't having enough other income. So they haven't been filing tax returns for the past 7 or 8 years they've been in America because they didn't think they had to. But they found out that all their offshore accounts they should have been filing taxes on and paying taxes on. So they joined this program where they said, okay, we didn't know that we had to pay taxes on that. We're sorry. We will pay all those taxes back with interest, but the government won't penalize them as they would if the government found them if they didn't come forward. So I had to go back, and they had tons of stocks and stock sales, and find the base amount of the stock so I could see if there was a gain or loss when they sold the account. So that was really cool because something that we learned in class was like FIFO, first in, first out, and I never really thought about how that would be used in real life, but here I really got to see because sometimes they would buy some stock and then sell a little bit of it, and then buy more of it, and then sell all of it, and then buy some more. So I really had to go back all the way to the beginning of their stock sales and accounts and find where the first one was bought and how much of that was sold in that first sale, and then where the second time it was bought and how much it was sold, maybe some in the first sale and some more in the second sale. So that was really cool to apply, something I really learned in the classroom in real life. Reflections. So I definitely learned time management, as I would be working on one project and another associate or senior associate or manager might come over and say, hey, can you do this project? I would really got in the method of asking people, okay, is this time sensitive? Do I need to have this done by a certain point because you're on a deadline? Because if it was, then I would go ahead and stop working on that project that wasn't time sensitive, do this project, and then go back. So that was really something I learned and how to be upfront and forward about so I could make sure everything was in the right place before the deadlines. Organization, this kind of went along with time management, so I really had to ask questions, write things down, and this was actually one of the positive feedbacks I got on my reviews, that I was very organized, so that was a plus. And then asking questions. Most people knew that us interns, we didn't really have much experience before this besides classroom, so they knew we'd have a lot of questions, and they were very forward about and wanted us to ask questions. At first I was a little nervous. By the end, I became very comfortable, and everyone was very accommodating to me asking questions and getting help. In the future, I was offered a job in October of 2016 as a tax associate, which I did recently accept. I'm very excited about that future, and McGladrey also pays for my Becker review course and for my first attempt at all 4 CPA exams. So hopefully this summer I'll start my Becker review course and start taking my first exam. Although I might not want to be in public accounting for the rest of my life, this is a great opportunity for me to network and meet other people in the accounting world that might necessarily not be in public accounting. And I could choose an area to specialize in, and wealth management in McGladrey or even outside of McGladrey or public accounting is very interesting to me and something I would really love to do in the future. So that was my internship this summer at McGladrey, and thank you for your time.